Hi all, this is Guided Practice 14. We're going to work on section 3.5, graphs of functions. So we are graphing absolute values and piecewise today. So remember with our absolute value here for number 1, we're going to graph this as if there were not absolute values. So y equals 2x minus 3. So when I go ahead and create my coordinate plane, now this one I'm going to draw in purple, and then we will do the one that we're going to keep the absolute value one in red over top. So this one would mean that your b is -3 and your m is 2, which is 2 over 1. And I'm thinking rise over run with my slope. So at -3, I'm going down here, close circle. And we want to up to right 1, up to right 1, up to right 1. So your line without the absolute value looks like this. Okay. So then to graph the one with the absolute value, I'm going to find the point that it touches the x-axis, so here. And I want everything that's above that. Beautiful. And now the part that's below, we're going to flip up. So it's going to look like this. Okay, we're going to kind of reflect it, flip it up as if it were a mirror right up there. And that is my y equals absolute value of 2x minus 3. Okay. So we graph what's inside, and then we flip up the part that's negative. Same thing for number 2. We're going to graph this as if this had no absolute value, so x squared minus 4. And with quadratics, we can, if you plug in 0, you'll get the 0 point. So we're going to start plugging in 0, and that'll give us -4. And I'll just plug in 1 or 2 other points so we can get a sense of where it is. If you plug in 1 squared is 1 minus 4 is -3. 2 squared is 4 minus 4 is 0. -1 squared is 1 minus 4 is -3. And -2 squared is 4 minus 4 is 0. So if we graph that, quick sketch, 0, -4. 1, -3. -1, -3. And 2, we're at 0, and -2, 0. So there is my parabola. Now, to get the absolute value, we're going to take the points where it crosses and take everything above. And then the part that's below, we're going to flip up. So that point at -4 is going to become this point at +4. And we're going to go up and back down, right? Reflecting it across the axis. So the part that's red is my y equals x squared minus 4 with the absolute value. All right, for my piecewise functions, I'm going to think about graphing this with different sections. So here's my breaking point. This one is, just at -1. Sorry about that. Let's take on, so I only need that one. Okay, and I'm actually going to start from the bottom. This says at x equals -1, the value is 1. So for x equals -1, 1 would be the point right there. Okay, now for the other two pieces, I'm going to use open circles when I graph. So when it's less than, so to the left, I'm working with y equals x squared minus 3. So I'm going to choose some values here, but I'm only going to choose values in that section. So numbers that are less than -1 or equal to -1. So at -1, when I plug in -1, I get 1 minus 3 or -2. I'm going to choose -2 and -3 and see what's going on there. So at -2, 4 minus 3 is 1. And at -3 squared to 9 minus 3 is 6. Okay. So that gives me the following. At -1, -2, I get an open circle because it's or equal to, not or equal to. And then -1, -2, 1 is up here. And -3, 6 is way up here. So I'm going to get a parabola that goes up this way. Okay. And then the last piece over here on the right, we've got y equals 3x plus 1. And let's see, at -1, we get negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. At 0, we get 1, and at 1, we get 4. So we'll just use those 3 points. So I get an open circle at negative 1, negative 2. Then I'm going with 0, 1. So 0, 1 is up here. And 1, 4. And so we get this line right here. And that's your piecewise function. All right, here we go with another one. All of these kind of have the same breaking points. We're always at negative 1 and positive 1. Okay, so breaking into 3 sections. Now, over here on the left, for less than negative 1, that top equation says y equals negative 2x. So we're going to find out what happens at negative 1 and a couple of other points. So I'm going to go negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Negative 1 times negative 2 is 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. And negative 3 times negative 2 is 6, right? You're plugging in for the x. So that means, keep in mind that this first one up here is not or equal to, right? So it's just strictly less. So I'm going open circle on this one. So open circle at negative 1, 2. Okay, negative 1, 2. So I get an open circle here. Then I get negative 2, 4. So negative 2 and 4 would be this one. And negative 3, 6. And so that's going to look like this. Okay. Now on that middle section, we have y equals x squared. And we're going from negative 1 to 1, so I'm going to choose negative 1, 0, and 1. Squaring them, you get 1, 0, 1. Now, the left one is or equal to, so it's closed circle. On the right at 1, it's not or equal to, so it's open circle. So at negative 1, 1, we get a closed circle. At 0, 0, we get a closed circle. But at positive 1, that less than is not or equal to, so I get an open circle here. And I'm going to connect my dots. Okay. And then the last one, right here, we are negative 2 when x is greater than or equal to 1. So at 1, the value is negative 2. And we're going to stay at negative 2 the whole time. So y equals negative 2, which is a horizontal line. Okay, and it would look like that.